Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest Gold, the best weekly Stardom and Marigold podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. How's it going? I for the first time in a long time, I went back and I don't know if you saw this, because you were asleep when I was texting about it. And you like to no sell me sometimes. I went back and listened to some old episodes of ours. Um,
Oh, that was yesterday. Yeah.
those yeah, time zones. 2 days ago for me. Um, and yeah, I was listening to the episode that Hazuki came back and the episode that Momo turned heel. Um, it was an
We just
interesting
have so
listen.
much optimism and faith.
Yeah, dude, like that Hazuki show, like I sounded so happy.
Mm.
Not even just like about Stardom, just in general. I just sounded like a happier person. Um, but yeah, it was a really interesting. Like yeah, I felt I had like so much. We were talking about how big, um, it could be because that was the same show that for the first time, New Japan was gonna be having Stardom on a
Mm.
non-Kingdom show. Like they announced that Stardom was gonna be on some undercards or whatever. I think it was a dark match. Yeah, they were gonna be on like dark matches for Destruction or whatever. And we were like, oh, this could be really cool. And it's like, oh, Hazuki, she can come back and she could be immediately a big player. She can win the white belt finally, and she could. and then and then hilariously, the Momo episode, it took us like 15 minutes to talk about Momo because I was literally like trying to talk about anything else. Um,
Yeah, I remember.
yeah, and like I was listening to our criticism, and I kind of stand by a lot of it. I think that a lot of it kind of like carried
Momo's
on, carried
turn,
true.
they always gave away that Momo's turn was a complete panic move because
Mhm.
she didn't have gear ready and she had just debuted a new babyface theme that they had to scrap. And if you're
Very
not
good
going to put
babyface theme,
money
by the way.
into that, a great
That
theme, yeah,
babyface theme is my alarm, my morning
that's
alarm
fair.
is Momo's babyface theme that she barely used because it
It
is very
rocks.
cool. It's a great song, and it also reminds me of Momo Shuri, which is one of my favorite matches ever, obviously. But yeah, I'm writing a thing about Momo, so I thought I would go back and kind of listen to how I felt in the moment, and I'm
Interesting.
still pretty much there. It's funny because we were kind of talking about how Konami was like Big Show, where it's like oh, she like Konami did this turn a few months ago, and now she dips, or not a few months ago, the year prior, and now she dips, and it's like oh, like how many more times are we gonna have this Konami-esque turn? Little did we know, Konami would literally do the exact same turn again herself, a
Yeah.
couple years later. Crazy, but yeah, that was just kind of a bit of a time capsule for me that I went back and listened to. It was
All
interesting.
right. Seems fun. Um, yeah. Well, head on over to the
Honestly,
five dash.
very very quickly, if you guys ever want to go listen back to the old episodes, I do advise it. It's not good. Like I wouldn't say that the episodes are particularly
That's
great. We
crazy.
don't have like I don't think they're bad, but we definitely have more. We sound more natural these days.
Mm.
I think we were trying to be something, and now we just are. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do recommend going back and listening to them because it's like it was really kind of like revealing, like, oh wow, like yeah, that is how it was at that time. And like, do you remember My Himipoi almost broke up?
Yes. Yeah, they were
Like that
teasing it
just and
for
then
no
they just
reason.
didn't. Then
Yeah.
nothing, like absolutely nothing happened. Like I was like, it's like, oh shit, yeah, that happened. Like it's very interesting to kind of like listen back to the old small aspects of Stardom that we overanalyzed and then nothing happened. Um, it's a very interesting time.
I think the Kyrie one really was our worst one because we were like, "This is great. One of the Freedom is back. They're gonna love her." And then she was just around once every 2 months and like never
Yeah.
lost.
She had a few great matches. She had a few great matches.
Towards the end, yeah, I guess.
She had
You know,
the Saya series, the two, uh,
kinda, yeah.
the tag and the singles. She had the Mayu one and the Mercedes one. She did
Yeah,
well.
but it was different. Like the expectations were
Yeah.
quite high, given it was Kyrie and it was one of the Freedom, and we were never expecting to get EO back. So it was like, oh shit, this is it.
Mhm.
And then yeah, she was interesting. Um, but yeah, head on over to the 5-star-network.com for all the latest articles and podcasts from the wonderful world of pro wrestling. Head on over to the 5 Star Network YouTube channel, which is where this, as well as shows like Actress Stage and No Limit Wrestling, all go up. No Limit Wrestling. Next episode is about Nanai, I believe.
Probably, probably yes.
So that'll be fun whenever you guys get to it.
Yeah, we're taking a minute because uh, we're all busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Me and Xavier are busy bees, and we also want to do a live stream soon because we were being asked about doing a watch party again soon. So we want to do that as well.
sounds fun.
Yeah. Um, I'll probably be on my Twitch channel, but so yeah, we'll figure that out. Yeah, you know, yeah.
All right. Well, it's time to get into the action.
Oh,
We're gonna
and
start.
check out Scott E Wrestling's YouTube channel. I don't know when what we recorded will be up, but it will be up in the next couple weeks, ideally. Um, we'll see. But we recorded something yesterday, the two of us, alongside Scott, Six Star, and Xavi. So check that out when it gets out, if it gets out. I said some things I shouldn't have said that might have scrapped the entire thing. We'll see, but I stand by them.
No.
You'll never know,
Uh,
but I stand
yeah.
by them.
Okay. You were very mean to me specifically, so you know that's probably what got it
I was
pulled.
mean to another British person, but that's fine.
um, let's see. Yeah, we're gonna start with Stardom because they were on a
Mhm.
pay-per-view this past week. They did get up to a few things. I think most notably they were part of the June Kasai festival today.
Oh, were they?
Suzu teamed with Rini Yamashita for a Mi Vida
Mi
Loca
Vida
thing in a death
Loca.
match, and Suzu bled. So seems fun.
I haven't gotten to see any of that show yet. I'm gonna probably watch that after we're done
That's
here.
fair. Yeah, I don't really think they got up to much else. I know they've been doing stuff in Wave and Sendai. Aya Sakura retained the Sendai Junior belt, which was kind of obvious because Yuna never wins. So that was
And
that
also
was fun.
V1.
Yeah, V1. So they'll probably change it on the big show in Sendai or
Well,
wherever they run the other one, Niigata usually, but I don't
mm,
know. We're going to get on to the conversion. This was in the Yoyogi National Second Gymnasium. This is 2,521 fans outdrawing Marigold, outdrawing New Japan. I think All Japan ran here and did less
mm,
as well. The only promotion that drew more is Sendai Girls, who announced a 3,000 plus attendance, which I highly doubt, but
no,
I'm not
I
about to
don't.
argue. So Stardom, one of the best numbers of the year in Yoyogi, which is it's kind of expected. They are kind of red hot. They are just consistently doing stuff where you're like, all right, sure thing, man. So I'm not surprised they got 2,500 here for this, and it was up I think 900 from last time they were on Yoyogi. So big signs there that they're moving forward. We kicked off the night with a Future of Stardom Championship match. Hina defended against Rian and won in 12 and a half minutes with the Mud Splash. This was kind of like for a lot of it, it was almost an exhibition for Hina of how many moves she could hit. She was just
Just
pile
beat the fuck
driving
out of her.
Rian into the ground. It was just constant offense, offense, offense. And then Rian played the fiery babyface and got the crowd back on side. And I thought like it was an enjoyable match. They did kind of what you'd expect. So, like they played to Rian's strengths as a babyface, and they just let Hina hit her offense, which has always been the best part of Hina. Like we've always kind of said, Hina
He
just
just beats the fuck out of
is
people, man.
really interesting on offense. She does so many
Yeah.
moves and does them so well. So just basing a whole match around her beating the crap out of a good babyface was a very smart decision.
Yeah, no, I really like this match. It was probably the best Rion match of all time. Um, in fact,
Possibly.
I'd be pretty definite about it. I mean, I doubt that she was in a great tag.
I feel like there
I
was
don't
one
have
tag.
Rihanna on my match guide. That's crazy. I just completely forgot that she existed.
It's harsh.
Uh, yeah, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I thought this was probably the best match Rion's ever had. It was really good. Like I really loved Hina's output there, and I also loved that Rion kind of was able to, try to break down the wall type of thing. Like I
Mm,
think we talked about a little bit last week that Hina is such a great kind of like indomitable force for the future division. Um, Even if she doesn't have necessarily like story ties with these people, she's a step above everybody that can challenge her. And I think that's cool. You know what I mean? Um, Similar to her sisters in their reigns, but I think even more so because it feels like Hina is like the last of that generation to get the future belt. You know
mm.
what I mean? Of the kid and Hanan and Rina and Ruaka and like all of them kind of came up together and Hina's the last, the last stand of them in this undercard division. And I think that's really cool. Uh it's a cool way to kind of, get people some good matches and I think Rion, like I said, had her best of her career here against Hina.
All right. Our next match was Aya Sakura, Yuna Mizumori, and Sayaka Kurara of Cosmic Angels beating Momokogo, Emma Maishima, and Kikyo Furusawa in just under 9 minutes. Aya Sakura pinned Kikyo after a thrust kick. Um, I thought this was a good match. I thought Emma proved a lot of what I've said about her because she just got in there with Unimon and did expert high speed style stuff. Like she just kept up with Unimon, which isn't very easy because Unimon is very, very good. But like Emma just kind of kept up and did her part. And I thought the finishing stretch was kind of rough at points, but I did like the styles clash of Aya Sakura being the striker versus Kikyo and her technical trickery. I thought
Mm.
they played on that once or twice really well, and I'd like to see them maybe get to dig into that more because I think there's a lot you can do with Aya versus Kikyo. But it definitely wasn't as clean as the Emma Unimon stuff.
Yeah, I thought Unimon was really the star here, but I also loved what I was able to produce. Um, it was a good match. Yeah, I feel like that sounded mean, but I feel like I usually come away from these Aya Sayaka, Karara, and Unimon matches and go, Unimon was a real solid, steady hand, and Aya had some cool spots, and Sayaka was also in the match. Um, that's usually what I come away with, and it
Yeah.
usually translates to a good match, a solid, serviceable match, which this was.
All right. Our next match was the BMI 2000 team of Natsuko Tora and Rocca beating Koguma and Hazuki in 10 minutes with a freezer bomb. This was like a one-sided squash almost. I couldn't tell you if Hazuki even tagged in. The last 3 minutes was just Rocca beating the shit out of Koguma nonstop to the
Lifting her
point
head
where
up
she
when she
lifted her
pinned.
out of a pin just to hit the freezer bomb. This was so one-sided. It was such a slaughter. And FWC just kind of strolled off after, and you're like, what is happening? Um, it was a nice, strong win for BMI 2000, and I assume they will challenge at some point next month because they've kind of
Mhm.
gained a lot of steam as heels, and they might even win the belts. Just kind of put them back onto heels going into tag league. Um, yeah, I was very surprised that this was so one-sided and that FWC just kind of went, yeah, we're the independents. We're just gonna fuck off now. um, so
Yeah,
very
this felt like
intrigued.
yeah, I don't know. FWC is like in a weird spot, like more
They're
weird
not
than
on the
we've been
show
talking about.
tomorrow as well, so this might be the start of them just being part timers.
Well, I
But I have
are
no clue.
isn't the what's it called?
What?
Spark show this week?
Oh, maybe. I think that's on Monday though, so I don't know why you'd fly over this soon.
Maybe
Unless
they're
they're
just
on
taking the
AEW
full
and Ring
week
of Honor or
off.
something. I don't know.
Should be. Ain't doing nothing
I
else.
highly doubt it though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's June 29th, so that's 5 days from now, and
Yeah.
they're off the show tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. They're just kind of weird. This felt like uh, I hate to use this phrase. It felt like a humiliation ritual of just like, yeah, this is the best tag team, um, one of the best tag teams in Stardom history, and they just like just get completely ran over. Afterwards, Ruaka gets backstage and says that we done with the 2020. That doesn't work. We're done with the 2010s, I guess. Um, Basically said that Hazuki and Kokomo are the old guard and Ruaka is the new, and Natsuko, I guess, even though okay. Um, yeah, and I mean Hazuki even replied to that. It's like, oh, you think it's over? Like I don't know. It all felt kind of uh I don't know.
Nothing.
I feel like
I'll put it this way. This didn't feel like last year when Tam was losing all the
no,
GP matches because she kept saying, "Oh, I'm gonna rise above this. I'm gonna put all my heart and soul into it. I'm gonna keep getting back up." Whereas FWC just said, "Yeah, we're the world's FWC. Bye." Like they never like this could be the start of a story where they like rise back up from the depths of hell to win the tag belts or something, but they're not telling that story. Neither wrestler seems interested in that. So it really does just
nor
feel
does
like
the company.
BMI just beat the crap out of them to make BMI look good, which is fine. I don't mind it. Like Rocca got a really,
Mhm.
really strong win. And if they do win the tag belts, then it will be a good setup. But it definitely doesn't feel like this is going anywhere for FWC.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like you know, fuck FWC specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're the world's FWC now. What can we
Yeah,
say?
they will be in America this week. So
Yeah. Um, we then got a special singles match. Risa Serra beat Hanako in 15 minutes with the Rasha Scissors. It got good at the end. I will give them that, but it was very slow, very plodding, kind of boring until they hit the finishing stretch, which did save it. I will admit, I did end up coming away thinking it was a relatively decent match. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It just wasn't
I've
that good.
I've seen worse matches.
Yeah, yeah,
I've also seen I've also seen approximately 750 better
yeah. That's pretty much it.
recently. Actually 750 plus 72. Yeah, like 800. Yeah, like I've seen like 800 better matches than this year at least. So,
Okay,
it wasn't good.
no. Risa Serra in 2025 is what she is. Honestly,
Yeah,
she's
and I mean like
lumbering towards
Hanako's never
retirement.
gonna, like light the fire.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, good on them, I guess. We then had Ami Sourei's return match. Sai Kamatani, Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Rian of Hate beat the God's Eye team of Ami Sourei, Lady C, Rani Agami, and Kiko Furusawa? No.
Wait, no.
Kyoka
Oh,
Kotatsu. That's it. I
yeah.
got the K's mixed up. Saya pinned Ami in 16 and a half minutes in a fairly surprising result. Ami, of course, had new gear. She has new red hair. I'm rocking with the new look. I'm rocking with the red
Yeah.
hair. I think it's very main event gear. And then she lost. So I was slightly put out. But they did cheat with every trick in the book
Oh my
to
god,
to
I
beat her.
totally forgot about what fucking happened in this
And
match.
then Saya got on the mic and said, "It's time to celebrate your return from hate of defeat. The landscape of stardom has changed while you were gone. You should continue drowning at the bottom for the rest of your lives." So I think they're setting up an Amisore revenge arc. I think that's what this was.
Mm.
She is going to beat Saya at some point and challenge her and get her revenge for God's Eye and for all this cheating. Because I think they really like Ami. Um, and I don't think they re-debut her against Saya Kamatani and give Kamatani a promo and do all the cheating without it going somewhere. So Ami Sourei is another favorite for the 5 star.
Uh, ye yeah.
Maybe
So I
possible.
was expecting, but I moved too fast, man. I was expecting them to run another God's Eye um versus Hate Tag. in Osaka tomorrow
Hmm.
and have Ami pin Saya there. Funny thing is, they are running a God's Eye versus Hate tag, but Ami isn't in it, so that's not happening. I guess we do. I guess she is just like, I don't know. I still think that there's a
Well, Amisori is against hate in some form, but it's also involving Bozilla. So
yeah, it's a different animal. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and then so there's so what like just I know now's not the time, but looking at the schedule, um, next week we will be previewing New Blood and a Korkin.
Yeah.
That Korkin obviously now is not going to feature a Saikamatine title defense.
No.
Um, so at
But
best,
are you gonna project that Ami wins tag there and challenges in
yes,
Sapporo?
yes,
You fool! Why
that
would
is
they
the
move that fast? Why would they not take 3 months? You fool!
because that makes sense, Alex.
I don't know. I don't know. They need. Nobody's been hit by a car yet, so
Mm.
I don't think you can do a title match until somebody's hit by a car. I don't know. I could see that happening, but at the same time, they dragged out the Suzu Kid unit battle thing for like
And
6
they
weeks.
still haven't announced that Suzu is challenging Kid, have
They
they?
still haven't announced that. No.
Like
So like,
they've announced Bozilla's challenging Izumi, but Suzu is still not officially had been like, "Hey, I want the white belt." By the way, we're
yeah,
doing that next month.
yeah.
Um, hmm.
So every time you think you know what they're gonna do, you have to add a couple weeks on because they dragged out the Mi Vida Loca Neo Genesis thing farther than we thought. So I would not be shocked if they drag out Ami versus Saya a lot longer than we thought. And Ami just wins the Grand Prix and is the first challenge straight after. To
And
set up
loses obviously.
something in December. I don't know what. Maybe Sareee is the end goal, but I genuinely have no idea. I could definitely see them running it in Sapporo and like loading up Sapporo with like Kid versus Suzu and Sai versus Ami. But I could also
Sapporo's
fully
on
see
a
them
Monday.
waiting. That it is.
I know it's a big show, but it is on a Monday.
That won't matter to them. So I don't know. But this match was good. We didn't get to the match.
Oh, the match was crazy because they out of nowhere decided, you know what, Ami's turning heel.
Oh, I
And they
forgot that.
decided no, that was the only thing I
That
could
was
think
so
about this
funny because
match
they did all the miscommunication spots, and I was like,
within 40
okay.
seconds of each other. And I was
And
like,
then
okay, that was
and
weird.
then
All
Hate
three of
was
them.
like, hit her with the chair. Go on, Ami, hit your
And
teammates with the
Ami
chair. And I
thought
was like,
about it.
what?
And I was
I
like,
was
what
like,
do you
why?
mean? Why are you thinking about it? You hit
They
them.
they teased us with it, man. They teased it. In
You
fairness,
hit them.
did you or did you not in the moment go, oh, all right,
Dude,
she's gonna turn?
I was like, this is the craziest shit I have ever seen. How are we
You
doing
totally
this
buy
again?
it. You buy it.
I did. I
That's
did.
gotta hand it to Stardom. They
We
did make me
that
buy it.
oh man, it's been a couple months. I mean, it was mainly with like the Tam Saya stuff. That's like it's like this company, the booking can be so like off the wall batshit that like it gets you to buy into a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that like is a tool. Like that works sometimes. And this was one of those times. I thought it was a silly spot, but also you're right. I was like, Are they really fucking doing this? Like, are they really? Is this really about to happen?" Um, and then it didn't. But it was very funny that, like from a kayfabe point of view, that she thought about it. Like,
Yeah.
why did you think about it?
Why wouldn't she?
What?
They blew
Why
it up.
would?
Your teammates all hit her.
I mean, to be fair, last time Ami was in action, her and Konami were teammates.
That's true. Yeah.
So like,
That's
they
it.
were kind of
Sapporo.
like,
They're gonna turn her at Sapporo then. Suri versus Saya in Sapporo. Amisori turns. I'm calling it now.
oh, isn't that what happened last year? Isn't that where Saya
Yes.
turned
Yes.
in
They're
Sapporo?
gonna do it. Yeah, they're gonna do it.
Oh.
Because wasn't it the conversion they teased Momo going face and then she didn't, and then Saya went heel? Oh, so they teased it. Somebody else is turning.
Holy fuck.
Somebody else is swerving.
Momo!
Oh my god.
Momo!
Lady C. Lady C is turning on the group
Oh, we can't do
in
this again.
Sapporo. um, I don't know, but they put Ami and Saya in the finishing stretch, and you could kind of
Ami
tell
did well.
Ami.
Ami did well.
Yeah,
I'll give
you
her
could tell Saya was
credit.
like a step faster, but I do think somebody who's been allowed for 11 months, Ami definitely looked a lot better than you'd expect. But
Mhm.
that finishing stretch, you were kind of like, okay, Saya, you got to slow it down here. She's just learning to run again. Like, chill out. Um, yeah, it was a good match. Hate is great. That's what I always say. Um,
No.
we got onto a Goddess of Stardom championship match. Hanan and Saida defended against Natsupoi and Shiori Ano. Hanan retained by pinning Natsupoi in 17 minutes with the 17. Um, this was a great match. This was just
Yeah.
high-end tag team wrestling. I thought the finishing stretch was like a mini white belt match. Hanan and Natsupoi just went fucking nuts. There was so many like near falls that I bought because I think I was watching this live. I can't remember what parts I watched live and what parts I missed, but I think I watched this as it happened. I was very bought into the finishing stretch, which is always very beneficial. But this was just a great tag match. These are two great teams, and they delivered kind of the match you would have hoped for.
Yeah, I thought it was super good. Damn near great. I did really like it. I feel like Tom and Jerry really like click as a tag team,
Hmm.
and it's kind of frustrating because it's like clearly they don't have legs as a tag team from a booking standpoint. Like clearly that's not where they're going to be. That like they're not the next FWC, not the next sounds weird, but like it's not like they're like always going to be like in the tag situation, because they both have singles aspirations and they both make sense as single stars, um, and they both have singles pushes likely awaiting them. I would imagine, again, obviously last year, but again, so it's like you almost forget how great they are and how much of a well-oiled machine they are as a tag team because they really do just like stand out. And WingGori obviously are tremendous. Saida is the workhorse of this company at this point. Um, she's so good and she's always good. And Hanan, for her credit, was great in the
Hmm.
closing stretch. Everybody clicks in this match, so it kind of makes sense why it was so good. But yeah, I was definitely
I
happy with
forgot
it.
how good Ano and Hanan are because I feel like
Yeah,
they've wrestled
tremendous.
before and they went nuts,
They
and
they
here
had
they briefly did stuff and it was nuts.
they had one of the best white belt matches in recent memory for me.
Yeah,
Was Hanan and Nano. 'Cause that was great. And yeah, they also had a 5-star match.
yeah, that's
Uh,
what I'm remembering. Yeah,
also
they
great.
got kicked ass.
Yeah. So like, obviously everybody kind of works well together here, and everybody's good. So it was a very good match. I didn't think it like
Hmm.
reinvented the wheel. Like I still think back to the Soriano Natsupoi Crazy Star match where I was just like, holy shit. Um, I didn't necessarily like think it was like that great of a performance from Suri Poi, but I still thought it was great. Just on its own amongst everybody. It was a really fun time.
All right.
Thank
I'm
God for
kind of
that match.
I was surprised by the result because I did think that it was kind of a good idea to belt up Ano and Natsupoi and
Mm.
capitalize on the momentum from the produce show. I don't hate keeping the belts on Hanan and Ida. I think it does good for Hanan to keep getting these big wins as they kind of move her up the card. And Saida is now kind of this credible upper mid card baby face. So I think having them as the tag aces is fine. But I definitely thought they were going to capitalize on Natsupoi and Ano, and I'm not sure where they go from here. Like, one of them has to win the GP, or else I'm just kind of shoulder shrugging about the plan for them.
Holy shit! I
But
just realized WingGori is already like closing in on the pedestal for the most defenses in a single reign.
yeah, they're at V4.
They're going to give 5 tomorrow.
Yes, yeah.
Um, and I mean, then they just have Momo and Utami, which is 6, and then
Wow.
they'll be in the top 3. Yeah. So if they
Hmm.
if they win this match against Tropical Wild, and if they win against presumably BMI 2000, um, yeah, they'll be top 3 single reign.
Oh, okay.
Crazy shit.
That's
Because
good.
yeah, they're tied for. fourth with a few other people.
That's pretty crazy.
FWC, notably.
But these belts used to jump, in fairness. Yeah, that was that. We then got on to Neo Genesis versus Mi Vida Loca 8-woman tag match. No DQ, no touch rules. Um, I think the no DQ, I understand why they did it. I wouldn't have. I think there was parts of the match where they just relied on plunder to fill time. Like, I thought this was a good match, but they never focused on a tangible line to follow. You know what I mean? It was just kind of our turn now, doing plunder, doing some chair spots. Our turn now. There was very little about it that felt like the free flowing matches Neo Genesis usually have. So I think there was some good spots. I thought Rini Yamashita and either Kate or Azumi at one point were going at it, and I was like, hell yeah, this is the real
Mm.
shit. And then Suzu and Kid kind of did a little bit towards the end. That was good, but overall, I do think I would have avoided the plunder. I think I would have just gone for a more standard tag match, and it would have been a lot more fun. But obviously, this was a means to an end. So
The more I've thought about this, the less I've liked it. Like it just ages worse. Like it's only been a few days, but it ages worse the more I kind of like look back and think back about it. Um, yeah, I didn't think this worked at all. As much as I love a good like stip match and a good plunder match, I do think it was ill advised to run this as that because it kind of exposed Neo Genesis. Um,
mhm.
because they it just wasn't creative, and you
Yeah,
kind of have to be creative with plunder. Like like there has to be something. As much as we always like made fun of Julia for it, the fucking the roof tiles, like
yeah,
that's
very interesting
peop
match.
people don't think of that. Like that's a creative
Yeah,
choice. It was dumb a lot of the time. It didn't really work, but it was like, hey, she thought of it. She was like, I'm gonna make this work. And you kind of appreciate that. I feel like Neo Genesis, it felt like they were like they were just like uh it felt like they were told that this was going to be a stipulation, like a no DQ match, 5 minutes before they went out. And
yeah,
they were like, I guess I know how to use a chair, maybe a little bit, not really, but I'll try. And they just kind of got eaten alive in that factor. Also, I mean, I'm not saying that Mivita Loca had a great, like a great plunder match performance either. I kind of expect more out of them to kind of carry that, and I didn't think Suzu did anything particularly like creative with the plunder like she usually does. Neither did Rena like she usually does. Like it really fell short of what I think it could have been, even with the plunder, the plunder element, because y- like these are creative pro wrestlers, obviously. Like we know this, but they all felt completely like they didn't know what they were doing, um, which was a real shame, obviously. Uh, and that's just from like that perspective. There's also another element of it where it's like it felt like none of Neo Genesis were even really doing anything. Like this was supposed to be like a blood feud match where like they're like really like going at their heads. May Sarah got fucking busted open for the first time in her career, got like bloodied and battered by Suzu, and I was like okay, you should like try to be killing her. And Neo Genesis just didn't bring that energy at all to the match, which was also a bit disappointing. Um, it was just a bit long. Like I think even
yeah.
like the good stuff, I still was like, yeah, this is pretty long. Like I liked Aoki, I liked Itsuki Aoki stuff, but she was doing just Itsuki Aoki stuff for like 6 minutes of and I was just like, I mean, like yeah, like I'm happy she's getting this spot, but like, what are we doing? Like like this is a plump. Like, are we gonna get to the next spot? Like I don't know. It just felt the more, like I said, the more I think of it, the more I'm just kind of like disappointed in what ended up being. Um, because as you know, like with stipulations, they can either limit you or they can if they limit you, it makes you have to be more creative. But if they don't limit you, if they give you more options, you also have to be more creative. Um, it's a lot easier to be more creative when you have more things to deal with. That's why like UWF matches, so many people are bad at them. For example, it's a restrictive stipulation. You want a bit more of like a off the wall approach, a more creative, like wow, like uh utilizing everything you can to try and make it the best it is. I just didn't feel like anybody in this match was really doing that. Um, it's a shame
They
because
were not.
I know, yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
it was.
I thought you were about to cut me off. I'm just like I know I'm talking a lot, my bad, but
No, I just, I felt like getting 2 cents in after a bit of a break. Um, yeah, no, I mean the fact Neo Genesis did their dance to like start was very WWE.
bro,
Where I
I
remember Rhea Ripley once made the save for somebody and she
yeah,
had to do her stomp, and I was
uh,
like, What are you doing?" Like,
I thought that they were going to like not do the dance and just kind of like be in the dark like the silhouettes. I thought that was like
yeah,
a cool look, and then they did the dance. I was like, you didn't have to.
mhm,
We could have just like gone with the silhouettes because it looked cool for a second that they were just kind of standing there like
it did.
menacingly with the silhouettes. They could have just walked like that. I didn't think they needed to, you know, not to compare, but Gochika wouldn't have thrown up the Achika Kochika Gochika before this match. You know what I mean? It's one of those matches you don't
Exactly.
do that.
Yeah. You either
And
get it or you don't,
yeah,
and some people don't
that's
get it.
crazy. We're talking about like four of the best wrestlers in Joshi wrestling right
There's
now.
a difference though. When shit gets
Well,
real, you gotta get real with it, and they did not get real with it. But
yeah,
this match was a means to an end because towards the end, a big bastard came in and started beating up Neo Genesis and was revealed to be Bozilla, formerly of Marigold, um, one time of Pro Wrestling Eve. Bozilla debuted and is the
two
newest member
times of
of New Vita Loco.
GCW, which is apparently where Suzu found her.
That is great
Um,
lore. Her being like, "I saw her at JCW and she
bro,
was kicking
bro,
ass, and I
Suzu
hit her up on Facebook."
Suzu
I was
said,
like,
"Yeah,
"What?"
Bozilla sucked until she showed up in GCW, where the real wrestle." And I was like,
That's
"There's no
crazy.
way you just said that."
I got Suzuki doing GCW propaganda. That's
Oh
nuts.
man.
But yeah, I mean, Bozilla debuting was the big point, and it's kind of a big advancement in this story because I've realized Kid and Suzu is carrying the company in the similar way that like the Micah stuff was last year. Like this is the main story, carrying water in the company, and obviously Azumi and the rest are kind of pulled in as well. So Bozilla coming along and adding another layer to the story makes a lot of sense. Suzu pins Kid, but it's because Bozilla powerbombed Starlight Kid and beat her up and stuff. So, the heelish faction gets their win and the baby faces get something to fight back against. So
Bozilla
I
becomes
think
the
it worked.
first wrestler to be a part of a Stardom and a Marigold faction
Yeah, that's crazy,
because
isn't it?
there's no Marigold factions with a Stardom former Stardom wrestler. Yeah.
That is so true. Holy shit. But yeah, Bozilla is an interesting get for Stardom. I thought she would do this because the way she left Marigold just made me go, yeah, something's up here. Because we both talked about it. Like the family illness stuff is such a Rossy Ogawa get out of the jail card when he sends somebody home. And the
Yeah.
fact that she worked the GCW stuff, and I remember the week before Joey was like, "Yeah, she's coming, she's fine." So I was like, "Yeah, I don't really buy the family illness thing." Um, and then she shows up here, and I think it was definitely something that I saw coming in like the back of my mind. I thought she would do it. She would make the jump. And I like it. I like wrestlers jumping from one company to another, whether it's WWE and AEW, whether it's Stardom and Marigold. She did everything she could in Marigold, so why not go and do new stuff in Stardom with a new host of people? Like she could have stayed in Marigold and wrestled Misa Matsui again, or she could go and wrestle Azumi. And one of those is a more interesting proposal to me. So I think it's a good get for Stardom, and it's good for Bozilla to continue kind of building her resume outside of America because obviously her goal is a contract with one of the major companies over there, and Stardom's a much easier way to get that than Marigold right now. So I don't know. I
Yeah, I
like the
mean,
move.
I can 100% see it being like Bozilla wants to go to WWE. Marigold is initially believed to be this WWE proxy. She goes to Marigold, wrestles there for a year, starts realizing that Marigold is not a WWE proxy, and at best maybe she gets ID'd, but I think
Yeah,
they stopped IDing people more or less. So like they probably, for now at least, so like she isn't gonna get ID'd. And then she was like, well, nobody gets picked up from the fucking indies anymore, especially not the European indies.
I think they're
So
doing a WWE Europe soon though.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's
I
what
could
makes
also
this
just
really interesting to me. Like this might be a
Mhm.
very short run to put over Azumi and then do WWE because they're doing Eve is
Oh, no,
doing
I
a
don't
like
think it's
a
that short.
no, because Eve is doing a loser leaves gimmick, I think, with Nina Samuels, and she is the prime WWE wrestler. So
Well,
I
yeah.
think there's a chance that WWE Europe is something that's going to start soon, and that
Well,
Bozilla's run here is going to be short.
I expect another 9-month Bozilla run or so. Like, probably next year she jumps
Hmm,
to somewhere in America.
maybe.
Um, but yeah, I don't expect it to be like a couple months. Obviously, I feel like this is like the one.
I think
Shout
if
out last year.
WWE offered her a
Um,
deal, even Europe, she'd take it like straight
yes,
away. And she
yes.
might have already agreed to do the Stardom stuff, so that's why she's here. But she's gonna go like as soon as
She's
the Europe
biding
start.
time. Like, it's clear that she wants to do WWE or AEW, or just like she wants to be in the top
Yeah.
companies in the world. So
Which is
that's
fair. I
fine.
would too if I had her physical profile and was talented. Like I would
Yeah.
also want a contract from
I mean,
America.
she could wrestle as such a easier style in America. Um,
Yeah.
and we kind of started to see that near the end of her Marigold run. You could tell she was kind of getting ready to wrestle in America because she started wrestling a bit more limited. She wasn't being as like balls to the wall about it, which is connecting it to where we're at now. My biggest worry for Bozo in Stardom is that she is kind of in like I need to slow down mode because I want to get a contract and I don't want to jeopardize anything. So that's the bigger worry for her because I mean if you've listened to the past year of this podcast, Bozilla really fucking cool. Like like we are a pro Bozilla podcast. Um, but I will say, like last couple months of the Marigold run, uh, she was being a bit more generic monster heel. Um, and I think she was a bit more, varied, had a bit more depth to her, uh, climaxing with the Sareee win or the Sareee match, obviously. So if you've ever seen Bozilla, she's great, but I think that the the biggest question mark is she going to be as like all gas no brakes as she was last year, or is she going to be a
Can
bit
I
more?
just say I don't think it fully matters because getting Mi Vida Loca a third is more important than anything. Like her just being there for every show and
Yeah,
giving
but
Suzu
Alex, we're
backup
going to have to
is enough.
watch. So what I'm saying is that there
No, but
is
she's going
a
to be good
pitfall for this person.
regardless. Like her in multi-tags is going to be fine. Stardom's wrestlers are going to be able to work around her no matter what. Like Azumi is going to get a good match with
Yeah, I mean,
Bozilla,
look at
even
like
if
the
Bozilla
Megan Bain
didn't want
run,
to.
the
Like
early
even if
Megan Bain, where she
yeah,
was just kind of a tall wrestler, like
yeah,
a
those
tall just
worked.
person that just
Hmm.
didn't do anything because she was green and coming off an injury, and they still like worked it out with her. So yeah, no, I could see what you mean.
Yeah, so I think Bozilla just being there and backing up Suzu is enough, especially because it really does progress the big story in the company, which is this Neo Genesis Mi Vida Loca thing, and you get a third member for Mi Vida Loca, so they can finally feel like a real group, and you can really start getting momentum behind Suzu. So I think even if she isn't the top tier Bozilla that we saw against like Sareee, I think she's gonna be a worthwhile addition for as long as she's around. So I think
Yeah, and I mean she
they did a
isn't
good bit of
positioned
biz.
as like the centerpiece of Mi Vida Loca as much as she was like the centerpiece of
Yeah,
Dark
she
Revo.
kind of feels more like backup to Suzu. Like Suzu's gonna be a shithead to everybody and hide behind Bozilla.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm expecting, and maybe this is cope, but I'm expecting Azumi to retain against Bozilla, but
Possibly, yeah.
Suzu to win against Kid, and Bozilla's kind of
Hmm.
like the difference maker, so to speak. Um, and then if Bozilla is only there for 6 months, you could have Bozilla turn on Suzu, challenger, lose, dip.
Yeah, for sure. You can do a good bit with Bozilla,
Yeah.
because monsters are easy. But that was that, and we got on to the main event. For the IWGP Women's Championship, Sareee beat Siri in just under 33 minutes to become the fifth ever IWGP Women's Champion. Um, some people were surprised. We were not. We told you this company and their booking has given us no indication that they value Siri on the level that most fans do. This always felt like a transitional reign to Sareee. The match itself, I thought, was pretty great. I do think they went a little bit too long, and their draw was a bit better. I think they
Yeah.
they just clearly ran out of ideas. There was one point where Sareee started like taking away the leg of Suri, and then they just forgot about it because they were like, "Oh well, we need to fill time, so let's just go back to normal stuff." It felt very like what's the word? You know, when like a match that when things
Choppy.
just don't connect. Kind of choppy, yeah, like, it just disjointed. It felt very disjointed at points where it was like, "Here's one idea, and here's another idea, and here's a third idea, and here's another idea to fill the 33 minutes," and they just never settled on a layout for the match, and it kind of, I thought, as it went along, it kind of fizzled out because they started with a lot of intensity and a lot of hard hits and good grappling, but then, yeah, around the time they abandoned Siri's leg being hurt, I was like, "Okay, they don't really have a plan here, they're just going."
See, I kind of felt like the inverse. I felt like the match they were going for early on was not clicking with the crowd or the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And so like yes, it was disjointed, but I felt like halfway through they were just like, let's pivot to idea two. And then the next, 17 minutes was idea two, and it was great. Like I thought the second half of the match was absolutely tremendous. Um I thought the first half was a bit more shaky, mainly because I think Sauri's style works better for an intimate crowd. A crowd that's a bit more um I don't know. Like, does that make sense? Is that a fair take? That I think as much as we kind of like joke about her being scared of bigger venues than Shinjuku Face, like I do think Shinjuku Face fits her match style very well because people are kind of like are like slowly digesting the match in the way that she kind of like how do I say it?
Are you saying Sari is a small room wrestler?
Well, no. I'm saying that her style and the way that her match flows works better in smaller arenas.
You just called
So
her
yes.
John Gresham, dude. That's crazy. But no, no, I get what you mean.
Like not in
Like
like a bad way.
watching wrestling in venues that is like quite big is definitely different. You don't hear the strikes as much. You don't get to see as much of the technicality and the grappling.
Yeah.
Like
That's the big thing.
the crowd definitely enjoyed it a lot more when they started doing the big stuff. So I get you. I get what you mean. Her opening grappling works in Shinjuku Face with all the hardcore freaks.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of, as much as I love Marigold, that is kind of a Marigold problem as well. Marigold is a very grounded company. So like sometimes the matches that would click super well in a Korakuen or a Shinjuku Face don't click as well on the bigger shows. Uh Notably Utami versus Sari. Another one. Um and
Maybe okay
Sari
was right about
versus
Sareee, man. I
Julia.
don't know.
No,
Maybe
no,
he's
like
onto something.
the thing
maybe
is
maybe
that
he has a
like
point.
I think that this Sareee match, this Shuri Sareee match was still absolutely tremendous. I loved it. Um, but I do think that like the early portions of the match don't click as much as they would in, Korakuen, which is the case for a lot of wrestlers, a lot of matches. It's just kind of a nature of the beast type of thing. But I still thought it was great. Thought it was a great match. Shuri was working outside of her, going insane as she could, knowing that she was losing and never going to do anything again. Um, because that's kind of how it feels. It feels like they were just like, yeah, that was your gold watch, home. Go back to training, and
Mhm.
that's not my take. I think that she should be a consistent member of the top divisions. Um, Give her the triple crown, give her the white belt. I don't give a fuck. Just like let her do shit. But it does feel like this was like kind of like I said, a gold watch title run because it
Yeah.
felt kind of haphazard. Um, Great match though. Still loved it.
Yeah.
As much as I think that Sari's and the reason why I don't want to like make it sound like I think Sareee like is a poor big time wrestler. First of all, I don't think that's true. But second of all, I prefer her style. Like I don't need like Tam Nakano is a big match wrestler.
You were
Actually, no.
getting
Actually,
you were
I don't even
getting
know if Tam is a
very
big match
into the
wrestler.
weeds.
I don't know who a big
But
match. I mean, Mayu's a big match wrestler. Like
Sai
that's.
Kamatani. Sai Kamatani's a big venue wrestler.
But I also think Sai Kamatani has a poor opening. A lot of people like it's hard to kind of open a match. I think
Yeah, because wrestlers are all bad now. That's the problem. They didn't have that problem in AJW.
that's not my
They punch each
stance.
other in the
But yes,
face. Learn your Kandori tapes, kids. Punch people in the face to start your matches. It works. But
I mean,
anyway,
there
Sareee is
was a
champion.
certain value or factor, like to a lot of those matches where it's like one of my favorite matches ever, Kandori versus Toyota, starts with them like slapping each other in the face, and then Toyota trying to get like a knee bar on her because she's Shinobu Kandori, and like it's a fuck you because it's like. Is Manami Toyota trying to submit Shinobu Kandori right now? And that's like such a cool way to start the
That is
match,
Toyota's
Is like,
best ever match. So
yeah,
I'm very happy
it's
you're
the
proud of
greatest
that.
match of all time.
It's pretty
Um,
awesome.
it's I think it's in my top 5 of all time.
That's
So
valid. Yeah.
but
So
yeah, like
that's
like
interesting.
there are these matches like but you also need to have an energy to it. It's a
Yeah.
fine line. I'm not saying that Sareee sucks. That's not my take. But I did think
Sareee
that
is IWGP Women's Champion now,
yeah,
and it's very interesting for Stardom. She is already campaigning to be in the 5-star Grand Prix, and that's why
and
you put a
Stardom
belt
has
on
not
her.
said a single thing about it.
No.
Um
Um,
they haven't said a
she's
single
just
thing
an
about the GP though, to be
antagonist.
fair.
That's her thing.
Mm.
She is going to talk shit about everybody. She's going to get people riled up, and she's going to get them interested in her matches. And I think for the IWGP Women's Championship, that's very important because it's a belt that often gets forgotten. But I don't think it will be forgotten as easily with when it's around her waist. Now, where this goes, I have no idea. I don't know who beats her. I don't know if she ends up being the latest in the Mercedes Moné trinket collection. That would be fucking sick. Moné versus Sareee. Give it to me every day. Or I don't know if she's going to drop to somebody within Stardom to like put them over. But I do think we're in for a very interesting title reign because Sareee just does stuff that not a lot of Stardom wrestlers do in the absence of Tam Nakano. So I'm very intrigued to see how this goes.
Yeah. Um if Momo ain't gonna do nothing, she should lose to Sareee.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely gonna do something with Saya and Sari because they are
Yes.
wrestling in Sariism.
I think that
I'm
is a
intrigued.
possibility, is Saya just beating her, double champ.
Yeah, we've definitely thought they would merge these belts like 5 times now, and they never do.
Yes.
So I've given up hope on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if
Um,
they merge them, but I could 100% see them kind of being like, yeah, our top wrestler is better than Sauri. Um, because it's like,
but Kobashi
yeah,
did say they should be in the conversation for MVP of Japan.
yeah,
So
they
you
are
know,
the two, like they are the two standouts to most. So it's like,
I might win if she did that.
yeah, I mean, like that's a good political way to do it, but
Yeah,
like I don't know, I could definitely see them just kind of being like, and Saya wins everything, actually. Um, yeah, fuck you thought. Like, you know what I mean? Like that could be the forehead move, but yeah, I just want to see some cool matches. It is a shame that they are so like slowly and painfully um taking away Hazuki's credibility because ooh, we could have had it all.
yeah, I
If
agree.
Hazuki if Hazuki could come out at Korakuen and challenge Sareee without me laughing, which is what I would do currently because it's like she is the least pushed person behind
Yep,
Koguma that's ever had like ever held a title in the company. So like a non-rookie, the least pushed person, legitimately. If she could come out and challenge Sareee without me laughing, I would be in heaven. Like we
that is
should do
fair.
it, but that's not where we're at. So yeah,
That was that show.
yeah.
The conversion might
Not much
start the wheels
conversed.
spinning.
Conversed.
Conversed? No, I don't know.
They said
But
that the big conversion was Bozilla to Stardom, and I was like, yeah, all right, that's a bit on the
that
nose.
is one.
Um,
I mean, they did change a belt, and they did that, and Amisore came back, and things might be kicking. They might finally start doing stuff again. They
did
do
we
have a
even mention that
show.
Tropical Wild challenge after the match?
No, I was gonna do it now. They do have a show tomorrow that well, there's no point in previewing because it will have happened by the time this goes up. But on that, Hanan and Saida are defending the tag titles against Yuna Mizumori and Saki.
Would be so
Kind
funny
of
if
out of
Saki
nowhere
Love
in
won.
Osaka too. But they get a Unimon tag title match, and we've wanted is Unimon to get title matches. So you know what, I'm into it.
It would be
Good for
very funny if
Unimon.
they lost or if they won.
No, don't make me watch more Saki. I don't
I'm looking
want
out
it.
for my homeboy.
I should be your highest priority. But okay. Anyway, with that,
Uh,
it is time to get on to Marigold because there's no Stardom to preview. They're all house shows, and most of the cards aren't up.
the only
So
card
we
that's up
will,
is the Osaka one.
yeah. And as I said, there's no point in previewing a show that will have already happened. Next week we will look ahead to New
Bozilla is
Blood.
on that show though, by the way.
She
Bozilla's
is,
debut.
yeah. She's
Is
teaming with Movie to Loca.
yeah. Also, oh yeah, Bozilla took Momo's fucking title shot. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, poor Momo, dude. That's
Oh
yeah.
man, Momo,
Oh yeah,
Momo,
so
Momo.
next week we'll have a New Blood and a Corkin to deal with. I
Preview.
don't have full confidence that they will announce the card for that Corkin on the 6th by the 1st.
Oh no.
So we might be flying by the seat of our pants, but we will
The New
preview
Blood
it
card
anyway.
is up though.
Yes, I
Oh
saw
no, it's
the
not. Just the
tag.
one match.
Oh yeah, I saw the tag title match that they made. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, we'll do that next week. So we're on to Marigold, and
Yeah, we
in
are.
the world of Marigold, yesterday on Monday Magic, there was a tag match. Megaton, Mikuro Ono, and Miyuki Takase beat the Great Sakuya, Sora Ayame, and Takumi Iroha by disqualification in just under 9
I was gonna
minutes.
say, oh, I missed it, but then I was like, that's fine.
Yeah. They did some Iroha Iono stuff, which I thought was crazy that Rossi let that be given away to a different company. Megaton was funny, and yeah, that was that. The more important thing is that afterwards, Victoria Yuzuki came out and challenged Iroha to a match for the GHC Women's Championship. So next Monday, on the season finale of Monday Magic, we are getting Takumi Iroha versus
No,
Victoria
at
Yuzuki.
Wrestle Magic.
Is there a difference?
Wrestle Magic's the pay per view. Yesterday was the final episode of the
Oh,
TV show.
okay. Is it next Monday?
I think it's Sunday.
Why do they lie to me? Anyway,
It might be
at
Monday. I don't know, but
at some
it's a bigger
point
show.
on Wrestle Magic, Takumi will defend against Victoria Yuzuki in a GHC title match, and that is awesome. I'm really
Mundo.
into that. I think
I'm
Takumi
excited.
beating the shit out of another Marigold rookie and then being like, Utami, I'm ready now. That
Mm.
is perfect. Um, in news from Marigold, they pulled Ryoko Sakamura from the shows, basically citing that she mentally isn't there and needs to take time off. She herself said that she didn't want to take time off, so it seems like they forced her hand and were just like, "Look, you can't be doing this." And
Mm.
I totally understand because she was mentally checked out, and I think it only takes one moment where she's not even thinking for her to hurt somebody inadvertently.
Yeah.
It's a very complicated song and dance in a pro wrestling ring. You can't have somebody there who just isn't fully mentally with it, or you do run the risk of hurting people. Um, Speaking of hurting people, though, Natsumi Showzuki, it was announced that she had re-injured her shoulder, and will miss, I think, the rest of the year was the projection
Until the
from a lot of people.
holidays.
Till the
So
holidays,
either
the rest of the
Halloween
year.
or Christmas.
So she is out of the Dreamstar Grand Prix, which kind of forces a change of plans in that. And yeah, I'm not surprised when I saw her wrestling. She was so heavily taped up. There was parts where she was really heavily favoring her arm. I was
Mm.
kind of surprised they let her back at all, and it definitely raised an eyebrow that they had her come back for one match and now she's missing for 6 months. I think it looks very bad on Marigold, who already had the Kazuna Tanaka problem, where people could see her wrestling with a fucking brace for a month, and then she threw her back out, and you're like, what? What are you doing? Like, you have to do a better job
Yeah,
protecting your wrestlers.
Marigold is real indie wrestling. Where it's like uh, the office is not going to tell you not to work hurt if you don't tell them that you're hurt. It's a Was it
I
don't ask? It's a don't ask, don't
That
tell type of
doesn't work.
situation,
Shozuki
which is
literally
bad.
came back from rehab to work one
And she
show.
said,
They
she
knew
said,
she
"Oh,
was
I'll be
hurt.
fine," and then she wasn't fine.
I don't know.
I mean, Mayu seemingly wrestled a match yesterday on a fractured rib. Um,
Just needless. This is how you end up with problems like last year, where it all compounds on top of itself, and your roster is
mm.
falling apart at the seams. But what do I know? Wrestlers are wrestlers. They are stupid.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, we were just talking about like before the show, me and Velka, we were talking about Sonata, who like got hurt, took time off for like a month, came back way too early, got hurt again, took time off for 2 months, came back early again, was still hurt, and has not recovered.
mhm.
And now he's just like a mid carder that's considered washed. Like, and like he was a high level wrestler, and then he got hurt and he refused to take the proper time off, and now he is no longer a high level wrestler. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm not safety policing. Wrestlers know their bodies better than I do, but I would prefer if they took more time off than they do, honestly. Because
Yeah,
the same can be said about like Momo Watanabe. Like that could have been so much worse than it was.
yeah.
The way that she was, she hurt her ankle very clearly, comes back literally 2 days later, wrestles on it. She shouldn't have. She's out for a few weeks, and she comes back for the big show, the big Rambo
Yep.
pre-show, and gets hurt in that again, and is out for a month and a bit. Like that could have been way worse.
Hmm.
Uh, and I don't love that that's just kind of the norm. And it's especially the norm in Marigold. Marigold has a serious problem with that. So it is a bummer. They should stop doing that.
Yeah. But at least they were proactive on Ryoko.
Yes.
Trying to
Yeah.
cut that before it got bad. But that is all the news. I think everything outside of the company, we will talk about everything else anyway in the normal course of business.
Mm.
So let's get on for the review. Um, does Cage Match have both shows up? Because
Probably not.
sometimes they do not. Yeah, they do. 21st
Oh,
and
well.
22nd. Woo. All right. So we had Marigold First Anniversary Series Burning Desire Day 7 in the Impex Sakata Arena. This said 409
Yamagata.
fans in Yamagata. We opened with Nao Ishikawa beating Hummingbird and Yuka Yamazaki in just under 8 minutes. Now notably pinned Hummingbird and not Yuka. So they're already protecting Yuka Yamazaki from pins, which is very interesting because
Birdie,
that's one of Rossi's.
we gotta get our money up, not our funny up, homegirl. Come on now. She
uh,
started a TikTok, by the way.
no way.
Hummingbird is on TikTok. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sareee made her clearly because
That's fair.
Hummingbird follows one person on TikTok, and it is Sareee Yamaoka.
It's pretty beast.
Yeah,
Um, I think this notably funny enough was one of the best Hummingbird performances. She just thrived in the three-way setting.
she did.
She did like a sunset flip off of somebody's back at one point,
Hmm.
and I was like, "How do you do this? Where has this been?" As she just all of her stuff was clean. It was really like this was a fun match. Like I,
Yeah,
I literally came away from this going, you know what? That was good stuff.
I think obviously people think it's just a bit, but I do think Hummingbird has like stylistically something that like I think can grow into a very fun wrestler.
Yeah.
Um, because obviously Cat Mask she wrestled a completely different style, and
Hmm.
this she kind of had to rebuild, especially with her breaking her brain open, um, in that one match. So she kind of like had to rebuild from the ground up a different style, and obviously that didn't work for a while. It was kind of like, what are you doing? This isn't you're barely wrestling. Um, but I think she's starting to be able to like kind of like create a functional style that's completely different from everybody else in the roster, which makes her cool, even if sometimes it means the matches are a bit weaker. Uh, like I think it's cool that she's trying something unique, and this was one of the matches that really did work. I agree, because she's kind of like picked her spots, and that's kind of her thing, and she did her cool spots when she wanted to, and she got out of the way when she wasn't needed, and it was a fun time. Now Chicago also looked good in there.
Yes. Yeah. Now is good.
As did Yuka, for that matter. I just don't really remember Yuka as much in this match as I do in the Fukushima one.
Yuka
Uh,
gets enough PR.
yeah,
Everybody's always hyping up Yuka. We're good.
the Mag Dog.
Yeah. We then moved on to Koki Amare beating Gisa Tachibana in just under 9 minutes. This is another good match. Can't
was alright.
remember a ton about it, but I remember enjoying
Cooking
it.
one by submission.
Yes, very
She did
odd.
like she tied her up in her legs, and yeah.
Yeah. Mai Sakurai and Miko Aono beat Chika Goto and Megaton in just under 11 minutes. I like how Chika now gives her teammate the room after the Ouchika thing to do the
To
Gao.
do their gimmick,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it was very fun. Yeah, I mean, they've kind of shifted Chika Goto now. She's like the hot tag of tag teams a lot more because Megaton took the beating here, and
Yeah.
then Chika Goto got in to do her stuff. And it was, it was a decent enough tag.
Yeah, I liked it. My Sakura
Yeah,
and Miku work well together.
yeah, they're good. Chiaki Misamatsui of Darkness Revolution beat Komo Minami and Mayu Utani in 12 minutes. Is this Mayu's first loss in Marigold? I think it is.
Probably.
I don't recall her losing. And it was because of Komo Minami. It's graceful.
Yeah.
This was
Fuka was saying that Komominami is a regen of Mayu Utani. I think that's
that was
kind of hilarious.
insane. Um, I did kind of see it towards the end of this match where I was like, Komomo is keeping up with Misa so well. I truly think if they asked her to, she could torch half the roster, but she's not because they have her being the face in peril instead. So I think she's in a really interesting spot. I do think Komomo, weirdly enough, could like be top 10 on the roster if she was asked to.
I mean,
She's
my
just not.
Sakurai said that. Like she was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah,
No, but
Komomo's
I
better than
saw
like
it in
all of
this
the young
match.
wrestlers."
I don't know what it was, but her and Matsui were just so clean with it. I was like, dude, Komomo is like awesome. She just never gets the chance to do it because she's always getting her like shit rocked in the corner in tag matches. So yeah, that was an interesting end to the match, but the rest of it was just fine. Mayu and
I liked
Chiaki
it.
always get paired off, and they're like okay together. It's a weird combo, but
Well, I mean, Mayu, uh, you haven't played this game in Kingdom Hearts yet. I know you're playing through it, but or no, wait, you are playing Kingdom Hearts 2. At one point, Zigbar looks at Sora and is like, "Oh, I always hated that look." Thinking about somebody else who wasn't Sora, a different guy who's kind of like Sora. Um, that's how Mayu looks at Chiaki, thinking of Kagetsu.
right,
It's like this feels right. I need to kill you.
crazy. Um,
But yeah, they did like a bit after the match where I believe Dark's Revolution was like, "Hey, we beat Mayu. I know we beat her, but like we beat Mayu. Isn't that cool?" Um, and then I'm trying to like uh, Mayu says that Misa's a good wrestler. I don't know. I'm just now like getting through the post match. I don't know.
okay.
They did like a funny little bit. I think Dark's Revolution is really cool. A hot take.
Mhm.
I think Misa and Chiaki as like just fucking pranksters, like little gremlins, is great. Um, I think that's cool.
Okay.
Hot take.
Um, Kazun Tanaka, Victoria Yuzuki, and Utami
Oh wait.
Hashishita.
Oh, they big leagued Mayu saying that she doesn't have seniority on them because she just showed up in Marigold
That's crazy.
illegally. That's what they said specifically. You
Uh,
showed up without our blessing, and then Mayu said,
Rossi just poking out his collar.
Mayu said, "I look forward to working with you as a new employee in the future."
That's
Uh,
crazy.
and then they all bowed to each
She's
other.
loving
It
life
was like
in this
it was a
company.
bit.
It's crazy. But yeah, our main event was Kazuna, Victoria Yuzuki, and Utami Hashishita beating Mirai, Rei Seto, and Seri Yamioka in 16 minutes. It was good. The main events are always good.
Yeah, yeah, this match was very good.
Yeah,
Very quite good. You know, I liked it. It was the best match of the show. Um,
that's
didn't
fair.
have much competition. I think everything else was just good to eh, like. But yeah, I thought the main event was notably good. I quite liked um actually I quite liked Mayu's part in this match. Mayu was seconding because Yuzuki, and she just sold everything that her team sold like during the match. Like at one point, Kazuna was getting chopped, and Mayu was watching her get chopped and like jumping up and down, like, "Oh my god, that must hurt." I was like, "I think you fractured your rib like 10 minutes ago. Like, like, does that really like? Are you really like that? Like, I think you're probably in more pain than Kazuna is right now. Same thing like watching Sareee and Yuzuki just kind of pummel each other. She's like, "Oh, this is real shit." And yeah, it was real shit. Hot take. Very very good wrestling.
Okay.
Um, Loved the main event. That
All
it
right.
was a lot of fun.
We got on to on the 22nd of June. They were in Fukushima, the City Gymnasium. They did 420 fans here, allegedly, and it did actually look fairly full. This one, I would believe 420. Um, the opener was Chikugoto beating Nagisa Tachibana and Nao Ishikawa in just under 8 minutes. This was a decent opener. Um, you know,
I had to skip this one for time, actually.
that's fair. Mai Sakurai beat Kazuna Tanaka also in just under 8 minutes, and I enjoyed this one. I thought Mai Sakurai has found a way to do these kind of matches because she was never the best at working down.
Mm.
But I think she's decided to just let her opponent hit more offense because she just let Kazuna kind of get the better of her a lot, and it made for a more interesting match.
Yeah, I really like this one. I thought it was a ton of fun.
Mm.
Um, I love what Kazuna kind of brings to the table, and I think this is kind of a like. It's funny. I know this is like always kind of brought up, but imagine watching this match a year ago today. Um,
Yeah,
could have been a disaster. But this, in fact, I don't really remember. I know they had a GP match. I don't remember if it was good or not, but it felt like this
probably
was like
not.
a step up from where they both were a year ago.
Hmm.
And I'm happy to see that because like I'm excited for Kazuna's tournament, which is cool. Like I'm happy that I'm excited for it.
Very
I was,
nice.
I was a bit nervous about it last year, and for good reason. She didn't really have a good tournament. Um, but I'm like actively excited to see what she can do here.
All right. Chiaki Misamatsu beat Hummingbird and Utami Hashishita in 9 minutes. We're back to Hummingbird face in peril stuff. So yeah, this was the kind of match you've seen before. There was some good Hummingbird Misa exchanges. They did the trickery,
I like Chiaki
and
and Utami. I thought they did some cool stuff too.
yeah, yeah,
The handsome ones. Handsome back.
handsome. That's fair. The handsome ones. But yeah, that was a solid enough Darkness Rev tag.
Yeah.
Um, Miku Yano and Sareee Yamaoka beat Koki and Yuka Yamazaki in 12 minutes. Very interesting team there of Miku and Sareee. Um, the match ending was pretty weird. I don't know if you caught it. Yuka kicked out at 3.1 on like a random body slam,
Yeah.
and everybody went to check on her immediately. So I don't know if she got rocked and forgot to kick out in time, because the match just ended very abruptly, and it was
Yeah.
kind of getting good up to that point, and then they just kind of cut out straight away.
Yeah, no,
It
I
was
think
very
I think it
strange.
was just a late kick out on accident. Like I think she was probably meant to kick out there.
Mm.
But I don't mind it. Like it wasn't like it was, like I can appreciate that sometimes. I didn't think it ruined the match. It was deep enough into the match that it felt like realistic. In contrast, like Yuya Uemura and Hiroshi Tanahashi had a match at Dominion, and it was like going really well, and it was like,
Mm.
oh, this is like the foundations of a great match. And then Tanahashi just like pinned him, and it was like a kick out at 3.1. It was out of nowhere. The match just ended, and it was like, oh, okay. There
Mm.
had to have been more, right? Like that was like that was the feeling, you know. But I think this match didn't suffer from that as much because we were pretty much like 90% of the way there anyway. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
so
Sareee
I
and
didn't
Yuka
feel.
was probably going to be the closer anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Sareee probably was gonna hit another move or two and then win. So it's not like it was like, just getting to the point where we were about to start, getting into it, but
Yeah.
it did feel abrupt in that way. But like I said, I like kind of like doing a shoot pin system
Mm.
and not stopping uh when the wrestler is supposed to kick out. Like I always kind of appreciate that in a way. Makes it
Uh,
feel a bit more gritty.
Sareee got on the microphone after the match and was kind of talking about the future, the Rookie of the Year stuff with Yuka.
Mm.
So I think that's going to be a big thing for Marigold at the end of the year. They're probably going to run a big Rookie of the Year tournament instead of just randomly running it at face on 2 days' notice. Because you're going to have Sareee, Yuka, and you might have Shino. So I think that's an all-star lineup.
Yeah, Shino said that her goal right now is to be future of Star or not future of Stardom, but
We
be
both
the
almost mentioned Stardom.
yeah, be the rookie of the year. Like she
Yeah,
specifically said, I'm not looking for a belt. I just want your end to come and for me to win rookie of the year.
that's gonna be
So
fun.
yeah, it'll be those three, and then it looks like Fuka has a couple trainees still in her
Yeah,
dojo. So
Megaton
maybe
technically was
we'll get
this
them.
year.
I don't know if she counts because well, it's weird about who counts because
Well,
um
Naho counted, and she was also an actress.
but
So
Hummingbird didn't.
yeah, that's true. But I think Megaton can get away with it. She can
Yeah,
just
I don't know.
lose.
I think Megaton should be in it. I think it'd be funny.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, we'll see.
that's something they're building already for the end of the year. Our main event
Megaton did have to
was
repass a protest. Like she had to properly like do the
that's
training and shit.
crazy.
So
I'd
she
buy it
because
though.
she her and Sareee passed the protest at the same time.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. Um, our main event was Kamome Manami, Mai Utani, and Victoria Uzuki beating Megaton, Mirai, and Rhea Seto in 17.5 minutes. Mayu loves Megaton. They
Hmm.
started this match, and she just was getting so much joy out of the Megaton gimmick. And I actually thought it was a pretty good match until the end, because they did that submission forever.
Bro,
Yuzuki
Yuzuki
has
was
the rear
insistent
naked
about
for
fucking choking her out.
forever. I was like, dude, just tap out. You're Megaton. Just tap. She was in it for like 2 minutes.
In part, that was the
So
ref's fault. Because the ref
yeah,
probably should have called it sooner because Megaton was
probably.
limp like the
She should
entire
have
time.
just tapped.
They wanted to make her look strong.
Man, it's crazy.
Oh,
Mariah
I
looked
know. I
so
don't know.
disappointed in her
You would
after
think
the
she would
match
just
too.
tap.
She was like, "What is wrong?" She looked at her the same way she looked at Mio Momono when she was talking shit about Marigold. She was like, "I will hurt you. Get the fuck up." So it's like, all right, damn. But yeah, no, I hated the finish to this, which is kind of disappointing because everything else was good.
Yeah, yeah. No, the finish was a bit like whatever. Um, but I thought the match was good enough for me.
All right.
It wasn't like as good as the main event the day before. Um, and I
Yeah.
probably have Kazuna and my Sakurai over it in terms of match of the show, but it was still a good match.
All right. That is that show. Um, Marigold
Oh,
is
I forgot to
running.
mention it. Um,
What?
that Yamagata show, Chiaki and Misamatsui hit their best dance to date.
The dance is clean.
It
I
clicked.
love it.
It was the clean like that was the cleanest they've gotten to do it, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's go.
All right. So Marigold, in on the 28th of June, they are running in the Kasakabe Furea Cube,
All
and
right.
we're opening with Koki versus Megaton versus Sareee. Dude, Saree's gonna pin Megaton. They're not even gonna give Koki a win.
Hmm.
This is crazy. Um, we then have a Dream Star gauntlet. For the Dream Star, it's a
Oh
qualifier.
shit, that's that show.
So they had to change this because of Shozuki being injured. This is now 2 spots. And so I believe it is
Two.
Senka, Yuki.
No. It's not official. It's not official. The matches aren't official yet.
I thought they were. I thought they'd
It
split them.
looked official, but they aren't.
Oh, okay then. So, in this gauntlet, Nao Ishikawa, Hummingbird, Rei Seto, Komomo Manami, Yuki Yamazaki, Nagisa Tachibana, Senka Akatsuki, and Yuki Minami will compete for the 2 remaining spots in the Dreamstar Grand Prix. We kind of said last week, and I would assume it's the same. The favorites are Rhea, Now, and Senka. I don't think Senka cuts that
Hmm.
promo unless she gets in, so I think Senka is a lock. And it's then up to a toss up between Rhea and Now Ishikawa.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. I don't think Hummingbird gets in after losing a bunch of house show matches.
Yeah, I mean,
Tachibana has never won.
Komomo's probably at the behind that. Like Rhea and Sanka feel like the obvious two. Um, just positioning wise. Now feels like she should be in, but also she's missed like a lot this year, so they might just want to err on the side of caution. Uh,
If
in the
now
same
if
in the
now
same way that
Ishikawa
like
doesn't get
Saki
in,
Kashima,
I am getting nasty. I'm going to
in
be
the same
so
way that
mean.
Saki Kashima probably shouldn't be in the 5 star because she's been out like half of the year on and off. Like she's constantly
I don't
missing
know.
weekends. Like I feel like it's kind of a similar game, where it's like I wouldn't blame Stardom for leaving outside Kashima. Obviously, I think now Ishikawa has more upward trajectory, like possibility, in this company than Saki does over in Stardom. But I mean, just from a like, oh, we don't know if we can rely on you to do what is it, 7 matches, um, 7 singles matches that are super important. Can't miss one; it'll fuck us all up. So that's kind of like what I think disqualifies now. Though I still think that she should get in
They
next to
put
Senka.
Koki and her absentee knee in this shit. I am not hearing it.
Yeah, because she's
I'm
a
not
top
hearing it.
star.
I don't know. I think I will be so upset if now doesn't get in because it will just piss me off that you can be so popular and you can do your job really well and they're gonna abandon your tag team with Nanai and you're gonna do nothing for 6 months and you're gonna be a fucking juggalo. And then, oh, by the way, we're not putting you in the tournament because we want to put Rhea Seto, the little anime kid from Sendai Girls, in. You may be a founding member of Marigold, but fuck you. And it would just piss me off that she's going to that no matter what you do, you're gonna keep getting overlooked for the Rossi projects. 'Cause
But
that's his one problem is he's just constantly has that
yeah,
Vince McMahon about him of these are my chosen ones, they're gonna work. And if you get over outside of that, that's because I'm so good
but to be
at
fair,
this.
Rhea also has gotten over outside of that. Rhea's gotten more over this year than Now has. Now got over last year.
Dude, now has fans chanting pretty
Yes,
regularly
and
for
I
her.
agree. Like, this isn't a question of like who's the most popular, because obviously of
I just
anybody
think
here,
it
it
sets a
should be
bad
Now and
precedent.
Senka in that case.
That's all. And you know me with Rossi. Sometimes I'm pissed off at how set in his ways he is. I think I
Yeah,
would be really
yeah.
annoyed if he was like, "Oh, this popular wrestler, yeah, I'm gonna just do nothing with her ever." Rhea Seto, let's go. I
I
think
don't
it
know.
just
I
annoyed me.
I think I think I'm looking at it as Rhea. I think if Rhea wasn't in this conversation and it was between Now and the rest of them, then it would be like, oh no. Like if Mad Dog got in over Now Ishikawa, that's a problem. Like that's a bit like
I
that's a
think Rhea
Rossi.
getting in is a problem.
I
She
don't.
hasn't done enough to earn it
She
in some ways, but
That is
also
insane.
like,
That is insane. Rhea is like one of the better
yeah,
wrestlers
she's good. I like
regularly.
her in the main events and stuff, but
I also just think
she's just a
Rhea
youngin.
will
Like she's
produce
not
better
even.
matches.
I don't think you can say that for sure in a GP. Things get a bit weird. I don't know. I would just be very upset if now was left out. I think it would set a very bad precedent that one of your company founders can constantly get overlooked. Because she already got overlooked for Sareee, and it would annoy me if she got overlooked for Rhea. And I can't get angry about Senka. That's obviously marvelous. But like I don't know. I would be very miffed. So let's hope and pray that now Ishikawa gets in. We then have Utami Hashishita, Kazuna Tanaka, and Chika Goto taking on Mikoyano, Mai Sakurai, and Chaniota.
Interesting.
That is a win for the unofficial trio because they're going to pin Kiz.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We then have Mai Utani, Victoria Uzuki, and Mirai taking on Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, and Misa Matsui. I think that's too strong a lineup to lose. That's going to be Chiaki staring at the lights, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Let's see. Is that their only show? Oh, they only have one show. Okay. Um,
No clue. I've been looking for this match card the entire time. I've just been
it's only on their
going with it.
website, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they haven't
Um,
been on Twitter, it looks like.
yeah, so they're not back until the 5th, when they run a place called Kawago, the Westa Kawago in Saitama.
Is there
They're really not
Kawagoe?
doing Kawagoe,
Is there
maybe.
an E at the end?
Yes, there is.
It's Kawagoe.
Oh, thank you.
Kawago, you fucking dumbass. Kawago. Like he's fucking the bird, the parrot from Aladdin. Uh that's crazy. Kawago. What the
That's
fuck?
so
Get the
mean.
fuck out of here.
You're so mean. But yeah, no, Marigold is very quiet because they don't do much until the 12th when they're in the first ring, and then they have the Cork on the 16th. So I thought they had a Shinjuku face show, but it must have been like Mandela affected because oh wait, they're running on the 29th, so that's their last
Yeah,
show
that's
before the
the
GP.
pre. Yeah, the pre. We're so fucked, by the way,
Yes, we are.
that both these tournaments are starting like basically at the same time.
Yeah, Stardom's is the 25th, and then Marigold is
The
the
second, I
start
believe.
of August.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will find a way to make it work. I think Stardom might spread it out, and Marigold might run some where there's only like 3 tournament matches, but we'll have to wait and see. But this is definitely a down period for Marigold. It's kind of just nothing's gonna really happen until maybe the Niigata show when they have to set up something for Cork in her first ring. I don't even know if they're gonna set anything up for first ring. Like they don't. What would you
I
run
mean,
there?
with Mayu potentially kind of like she should probably take time off. I don't know if she will. She probably won't, but
Probably
she
not.
probably should.
She's on the
Um,
cards this weekend, so
yeah, I don't know
does
if she should run a title match though. Is my point.
you could.
Because you could
Uh,
easily just like throw her in there with the Bird or with Kazuna or with anybody.
yeah,
Kind of
you could probably do
pad her
Magenta.
reign.
Magenta versus like Chika and Yuki maybe in first ring.
I would fuck with
That
that.
would be fun. I don't know. Maybe they'll do nothing because they've kind of shifted to face as their main thing, but they're not going to do anything in face next month. I think they're just going to do a preview tag for the Grand Prix. They'll probably do a block versus block thing, maybe. That was one Rossi spectacular that he used to do, but I don't know. It's interesting. We'll be back next week with a very light week because we're gonna have like one show to review and two to preview, so that's gonna be fun.
Hmm. We'll talk about the official 5-star lineup
Will we?
briefly.
That's the 5th. Are we gonna record
Oh wait,
after
no,
the
I
5th?
meant Dreamstar. Who gets into the Dreamstar?
Oh yeah, well that's different.
It's so
Well, yeah,
crazy we still don't know anything about the 5-star.
they've said that they're going to do a press conference on the 5th of July to announce the
I know,
five
but
star
like
stuff.
they could be having 8 blocks and we wouldn't know it yet.
Yeah, but
Like
3 weeks is enough
something
notice,
something
I think.
silly. Something silly could be a be
Dude,
a
they're gonna stick with the 4. I think they want the quarterfinal show. I
hot
think
take.
somebody backstage is like patting themselves on the back for that idea to
Hot
this
take.
day.
Hot take. I'm cool with the 4 blocks. I think for a
Yeah.
company that
Oh,
big, it works as long they just need to balance it better. Because last year there was 1 great block and then 2 bad ones and 1 fine one. Like
that's fair.
give me 3 good blocks and then like one of them is always going to be bad. That's just kind of how tournaments go. There's always a weak block when it's more than 2. Um, nature of the beast. But yeah, if they balance it better, I have no problem with 4 blocks. I think 4 blocks is interesting. Um, and it keeps you from oversaturating matches, obviously.
Yeah.
Uh, like with 2 blocks, there's like a 50-50 chance we'll have to see Starlight Kid versus Zumi again. It's like I don't, what I mean? Like I don't need to see that again. But with 4, it's like you can keep people away from each other if you want to make it a bit more special and interesting and all that. So
Yeah, well, as I say, I think they want the quarterfinal show anyway,
that too,
so they'll
yeah.
do 4 blocks because then
So
that
yeah,
lets them do playoffs and shit.
I'm cool with 4 blocks. I would just like
Yeah,
to know the blocks now. Give me the blocks now.
of course. But yeah, that's it. We're done.
I wonder if
Fairly
FWC's in it.
quick. I would lean towards no. I don't think Kazuki should do back to back round robins.
I
Just
mean,
you know.
Catch the Wave is barely a round robin. It's like she has 3 matches in it.
Yeah, but still, she's gonna go to America as well for
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't be
Maybe
surprised if
maybe
they
she'll
aren't in
lose
it,
the
but
Spark Joshi belt to Mercedes as well.
why the fuck not?
Sure, yeah, let's just do it. But yeah, we went light this week because the conversion was fairly straightforward for once.
Yeah,
So
hour and a half. Yeah.
yeah, this is what we have always dreamed of. This is why we stopped doing Stardom House shows. So good stuff. Yeah, it is time to close the show. We'll be back next week to preview New Blood and whatever's up for the Corkin, and we will review the one Marigold show and preview their stuff in Kawagoe and the other place that they're running.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks. It's time to close the show. Unless you have any closing remarks, Dylan.
Um, it ain't going up anytime soon because I barely even started it, but uh, Swing the Bat Momo Watanabe coming soon to writeonwrite.substack.com.
All right, pretty sick. So, if you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in.
Shine forever, Stardom Quest, Goldo. Passion!
Ijo.